She said, he's dead. I was like, what? I dropped the phone. I almost fell back against the wall because I thought I was gonna pass out. I said, what are you talking about? And my voice was so loud that people in the gym turned around like, what? And I ran out of the gym. I had to go out. This is like coming back to me now like it was yesterday.
The number one podcast where people are not only good at starting the race, but finishing the race. Finishing through the line casting studios. What's going on, everybody? Demetrius Ford with another episode of Through the Line. We're talking special individuals who not only start the race in life, but they finish all the way through the line. I got a very special guest with me here today. Initially I met him, I knocked on his door. He wouldn't say a word to me. He barely even look at me. I ended up, of course, I was persistent. I really didn't want to do his house. He had a beautiful house that I wanted to kind of do some renovations on, that I was doing some work in the area. Mr. Roger Hinds right here, ladies and gentlemen. Man, this guy, he's well decorated. And of course, like with how we met and how he made me earn his respect, has earned a great deal of respect with me when it comes to consideration of you, Mr. Hinds. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really well. I'm honored to be here to talk to you today.
Yes, sir, man. It's an honor to be sitting across from you right now to talk about the stuff that we need to talk about,
Yes,
you know. Man, you're a very decorated individual, at least in my eyes, in my perspective. You know, you like to play the humble role, but I'm going to try to get that out of you today. Man, you got a very glorified success path in life, along with a lot of things that come with success, which is failures, right? Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an immigrant to the United States. I came here from a small island in Trinidad and Tobago back in 1963. Went from this beautiful Caribbean island to our first home in the United States. It was my brother and myself, who was 4 years younger than me, and my mom and dad. We wound up in this little town, called Muscatine, Iowa. And I said, wow, you know, I had no idea what the country looked like.
Exactly.
There was no television back then. There was just, my father came here to attend the HBCU at Howard University. And then when he finished up his degree in engineering, civil engineering, brought us here. He started his first job there for a engineering company. Stanley Engineering was the name of the group. They are now a big EPA firm in the state of Iowa. Mm-hmm. We lived there for 2 years, and all of a sudden he got the itch, and we packed up and wound up I got off a bus at the terminal in Manhattan, in New York, got off that bus and looked up, and I said, oh my, this is even more eye-opening than what we just had 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And basically grew up there in Brooklyn, New York. That's where I basically had all my formative years, because when I came here, I was 8 years old.
Yes, sir.
And we had 4 more kids come along after that to follow me.
Yes, sir. So your dad, a little bit about your dad. What was the reason for traveling? Like, do you think it was a good idea, or are you happy that he brought you guys over here and kind of introduced you to that lifestyle?
Well, initially, you know, we just do what we're told, right? Mm-hmm. The understanding was that we were coming here because of more opportunities. Mm-hmm. And that's usually the story that you hear about this country. Immigrants coming here for more opportunities. Yes, sir. Which is the reason he was a customs officer in Trinidad, doing really well, but he wanted to do more, and he knew that the resources were limited in that small country, mm-hmm. and decided to bring us here so we would have more opportunities.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Trinidad. How's Trinidad? When's the last time you've been back?
I was actually back there last September. We're still trying to settle my father's estate because he passed a few years ago. Yes, sir. But we're going through that whole mess with the courts and everything else, probate, because he didn't have a will. It's a long story. But yeah. I was there. You know, they're having their ups and downs right now with their economy, mm-hmm. With the change of the government. There's a lot of corruption and stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Tobago, which is another island that combines Trinidad and Tobago, the country. Tobago is basically still a beautiful, not as commercialized, untouched area. Mm-hmm. They have some resorts there, but not like a Cancun type resorts. They're mm-hmm. very, very, about 45-minute boat ride between the two islands. And Trinidad itself is about, I forget the distance from Caracas, Venezuela, but they're very close.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
So it's a lot of, like you said, a lot of destruction going on. I think everybody's going through it, whether we're here in the U.S. or I think it's worldwide right now. There's a lot of things that are happening to people, the economy, even the things that we're exposed to nowadays. You're talking about immense pornography. You're talking death, murder on all social media sites. I mean, it's just pretty much all in your eyes.
Yeah.
So whenever you're seeing all of these real life things that you can only hear about in the news, not even physically see, now that you're seeing all of this dark time stuff that's been happening, but now it's exposed, you're dealing with people who are struggling mentally. And this is going into the topic that we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
Right? So you got to think about all of the little things that contradict to something being so exhorted, which is one of the main topics that we're hearing today, that everybody's talking about, that everybody's getting medication about, that everybody's trying to so-called study, which happens to be mental health.
Yes.
Right? Whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, there's a great deal of mental health issues that a lot of people don't discuss.
Yes.
And predominantly that's, of course, is the deeper story within us as men. I can't talk about women because I'm not one, but we're going to talk about the things that, that deal with men. Yeah. To deal with men of minorities, you're talking about all the way from dealings with the success that we have. From athletic view to acting view, you got a lot of minority, like famous people, celebrities, but there's also fatherhood that goes into that. There's grief, there's quietness, there's crying, and there's an immense amount of pressure, and there's a lot of losses that men take every single day just to make sure that everybody around us is happy.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
Let's go back a little bit in your life, March. I mean, we've had these discussions before. Mental health is something that you've experienced, I think, from even you going all the way back to your childhood, has been around you.
Yes.
Right? Where did it all start? Let's talk about where it started very briefly.
Sure.
Okay. Let's rewind all the way back to your childhood with your dad.
Yep.
Okay. You're talking about traveling. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was an athlete.
Yes.
A very great athlete.
Yes.
A pro athlete.
It wasn't really professional. And
at that
in Trinidad,
time,
it was more club sports, and as high as the highest level you could go in the clubs.
Yes,
would
sir.
be a national team or whatever.
Yes, sir.
But he was a very amazing soccer player.
Yes, sir.
We say soccer, we say soccer over there. It's called football.
Mm-hmm. So he was this big sports superstar, well known.
Well known.
Decorated within his space.
Yeah.
What were the things that you felt as being this kid that were, I wouldn't necessarily say derogatory, but it was things that you had to deal with even now today as a man?
Yeah.
What was that like, being the son of a locally famous star, and the type of parent that he was? How was that for you? It
was tough. I didn't really, because of his stature in the community, especially in Trinidad, I didn't really have an identity almost. He had a nickname. Mm-hmm. The nickname was Squeaky, because he was a little guy. He wasn't a real big man. I'm tall. I'm the tallest one of my siblings.
Yes, sir.
But he was a little fella, but he was an amazing forward on that football field. Mm-hmm. And so people always would look at me and, there goes Squeaky's son. There goes Squeaky's big son. It's like, I had to have a name, right?
Yes, sir.
But that was how I was identified to most people, as Squeaky's son. When we came here to the States, we wound up in New York, and I'm trying to, me and my siblings, figure out how to reach the same level as he was, trying to please our father. Right?
Yes, sir.
I tried his sport, soccer, but I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn. the kids in my neighborhood didn't play soccer, so I had to leave my neighborhood to play in the Italian American League or the German League, just because I wanted him to approve. I wanted to get approval from him that I was pleasing him as an athlete. But I wasn't working. I wanted to play the football and the basketball and the baseball the kids in my neighborhood played, because those were the kids would be hanging out with. So I gave that up, started playing those American sports. I tried high school, I tried them all. I got to my senior year in high school, I played football. I don't look like a football player, but I played football. I was about 165 pounds soaking wet, and it was our senior banquet, our varsity football banquet.
Yes, sir.
Joe Paterno, you know that name.
Yes, sir.
Went to my high school way back when, and he came to speak and present the awards and give out the sweaters and we got sweaters with a big letter on it.
Yeah, with a big badges.
Yeah, and after this was over, I went up to speak to him, and I said, hey, I played defensive back. I also played sometimes both ways, because we were a very small Catholic school.
Yes, sir.
I said, Coach, I would love to come and talk to you about playing, at Penn State. I had no idea about what Division I, nothing. I just wanted to play football after high school.
Yes, sir.
He looked at me and he said, do you kick? So at that point I said, I already hit me. I said, I ain't playing football in college.
Yeah, it's not for me.
So I was able to, I stepped back and said, well, I'm gonna, when I realized that wasn't happening, I had to figure out what am I going to do now. So I'm going to City University, Brooklyn College.
Yes, sir.
My father had this thing about, he had a box for everybody to fit in. And me being the oldest, his box for me was the doctor. Mm-hmm. He wanted me to be the doctor. Mm-hmm. My brother, something else. I don't remember what all the others he had lined up for. My sister could do whatever she wanted. That was his baby. She could get away with murder. She may kill me for hearing that if she reads it. But 2 years in, I'm still trying to do the sports thing. So now I'm trying out for JV basketball, a year and a half in. And I hurt my knee. And the coach says, oh, go downstairs to the training room and see somebody. I said, the training room, what's that? So I go down there, I walk in this big room, and there's a gentleman, a black man, sitting in the corner at his desk. There's students all over the place. There are people working on stretching and getting treatments and all that. I was like, wow, this is wonderful. So I meet one of the students.
Yes, sir.
Who was a little older than me, who became my peer mentor, Dr. Frank Walters. He lives down in Florida, where he's retired now. He became like my big brother, right? He said, oh, yeah, you got to go over there and see Dr. Chisholm. Let him evaluate you, and then we'll go from there. So I meet him. He checks me out. I forget it. I think I had some tendonitis. I don't know exactly what it was. But after about a week, my knee starts feeling better. And I'm like, this is good stuff here. I want to learn more about this.
Yes, sir.
I want to see what this is about. Because I was falling asleep in these labs and biology. And this was not...
Not a white coat guy.
I'm sitting in a lab one day. I come out of the lab smelling of formaldehyde, and we are dissecting a baby shark. And I'm like, how does this apply to? I didn't see the connection to medicine for me.
Exactly.
I was like, my heart's not in this. Go home, talking to the old man, told him what I wanted to do, and I didn't understand how hurtful this was until later, when all he did was this.
Wash his hands.
Yes. You're a big man now. You make your own decisions. I'm like, you want to go bounce balls? I told him I wanted to change my major to physical education.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what they did in athletic training. Your major was PE.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, you want to go bounce balls in the gym the rest of your life? Go ahead.
So he shot you down.
Yeah, he just shot me down. I said, wow, that's the kind of support I'm getting from you, And that, basically, our relationship just kind of, I wouldn't say it ended, but there wasn't much left after that.
Yeah, it wasn't truly valuable to you anymore. So at what age was that, whenever that happened?
I was 19, because I started college right as I turned 17.
Yes, sir.
Because when I came to the States, the British system that we were under, you went to school as soon as you start talking.
Yes, sir.
There's no well, you're 8 years old, you got to go here, you got. And so when I got to this country, I was sitting in class bored to death in 3rd grade, and the teacher was the nun. It was a Catholic school. She called my mother up. Hey, your son is, I don't know if he's got learning problems, he doesn't seem to pay attention, blah, blah. And they tested me and found out, well, this kid needs to be in a higher grade because this is baby stuff for him.
Absolutely.
So I skipped a year in that. And then my high school, I only went to high school for 3 years because they shut it down. They were going to shut it down. And so by the time I got finished with high school, I was 16. And then I turned 17 in August, so I was just getting ready to enroll in college. I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So this is 18, 19 when my father and I had that falling out.
Wow. And that's what I realized, looking back as developing to the man that I am today. The young man phase is whenever you need your father the most.
That's right.
And of course, you always need your father. But man, whenever you actually start having man problems, that's whenever you need the support of your old man the most. All right, so you're sitting at here, 19 years old, which you're a young man at that point, right? You changed your degree. He didn't support it. Why do you think that it is very, very critical that you practice mental health even whenever it comes down to dealing with being a father? Like, how crucial is it for you, for anybody to hear on these cameras here today of how important it is to be able to have a true relationship with your kids so you can better help them avoid the problems that we're all having right now?
Extremely important. Extremely important. Because I had no idea what that situation turned me into. Okay, I became a workaholic.
Yes, sir.
Because I wanted to prove this man wrong. And it affected my relationships all through my life.
All through your life.
Because all I did was I have to work, and I have to work, I have to work. This man, I'm going to prove this man wrong.
Yes, sir.
Right? And I'm going to become the best I can at whatever level I end up. I had no idea I was going to end up in the pros, right? I wanted to be the best high school, college trainer, whatever it was. I wanted to be the best at it just to prove him wrong.
So resentment creeped in.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So once resentment creeps in, you're now not doing things because you want to do it. You're doing it to prove somebody wrong.
Yes.
Right? So that's going to sway your thought process even about life and how you conduct yourself, which is what we're getting to now.
Yep.
Okay, so we just started from whenever you came up. So let's fast forward to you having your first kids, you turning into a man and having your own family. Let's fast forward to that. So you're saying that the way that he raised you and the impact it had onto you, it had you thinking and acting in a certain type of way where you didn't even know you were starting a mental health issue for you, right?
That's right.
So fast forward to you being a father. Let's talk about how that relationship was and how that your previous past affected you.
So I got married very young because we had our first child I was 23 years old now. So
yes,
I'm
sir.
done with college. I'm in graduate school, right? Trying to finish up grad school, and I find out my girlfriend is pregnant. So I was raised as a Catholic, but we decided to get married, right? And we have this child. But once again, I got this child, but I'm working. I really didn't give much attention to my wife at the time.
Would you think, or would you say that even today, because you see it all the time, you see a lot of men doing that, right? Because of what we're told that we're supposed to do as men is work all the time, right? You got to provide.
Yes.
The way to be a better provider is that you have to put in more work.
That's right.
So that you can provide more to give yourself satisfaction of what you're providing for.
That's right.
Okay? So let's hit on that. Continue the story. I just want to notate that.
So I worked, just whatever it was, how many days, how many weeks, how many hours a day it took to get the job done, even at the college level, small college that I was working at. My son was around me a lot because he happened to go to school right down the street, so he would just walk. So he was around me all the time. My wife at the time, after, 10 years of this, we were like, passing 2 ships in the night, and she just had enough. And she decided she wanted a divorce. I had to get my son to understand that this has nothing to do with him. He was only, 10, 12 years old at the time.
Yes, sir.
And when we were going through this process, he basically told his mother he wanted to stay with me. And now I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How am I going to take care of this kid and balance all this with the work responsibilities? How am I going to do this?
Because I used to think about, I said, no, I can work all the time.
Yes. And we got, he got so excited. I think he was 14, 15 when we got the call, when I was able to get my first job in the NBA. I had no idea I was going to the NBA. I was ready to stay at the college, get the tenured position, become a professor. I could have stayed right there in South Carolina, but I got the call, and off we go. Again, I'm working, right? He is old enough to, look after himself when I'm not around. He had a best friend that he would go hang out with or stay with if I had to leave town or travel or whatever.
Yes, sir.
So we developed a good support system there. But there was something going on with him that I didn't recognize. I didn't see something that was happening with him. And I was at training camp my third year in, I think. Yeah, so he's now 16. I'm in training camp, and I get a page. My sister had also moved to Atlanta, where I was working, and she was living right next door in another apartment across from us. I get a page. I didn't have a cell phone. I had pagers. My pager goes off 911, and it's my sister, my sister's number. I call her. I borrowed a cell phone from somebody who had one. One of my colleagues there at practice. She says, "It's Ray," and I said, "What's wrong with Ray?" My son's name was LeRay, but shortened by Ray.
Yes, sir.
She said, and then she started like crying. I said, "What's going on?" She said, "He's dead." I was like, "What?" I dropped the phone. I almost fell back against the wall because I thought I was going to pass out. I said, "What are you talking about?" And my voice was so loud that people in the gym turned around like, "What?" And I ran out of the gym. I had to go out. This is like coming back to me now like it was yesterday. And my boss grabbed me because he realized something was going on. That's Joe O'Toole. He's like a legendary trainer in the NBA. He was like my first boss in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
He grabs me. I'm like, I think I tried to break my hand punching a wall or something. I was so upset. And the guy whose phone I borrowed had continued talking to my sister. He got the story, and then he told Joe what was going on, and then things calmed down. I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around this fact that my kid is gone. And my sister, I talked to her again later, she said, it looked like he took one of your guns and shot himself. And she had heard across the hallway, she could hear the music blasting from my apartment. And so she had a key to my apartment because he wasn't answering the door. So when she knocked on the door, he wasn't answering. She got herself in, found him on the floor in his bedroom. And I go back to my hotel now. The team is arranging for me to fly back to back home. And I see the little light flashing on the hotel phone. I pick it up, and it's his voice. And he said, "Hey, Dad, I really need to talk to you." I was like, "Oh, why didn't you page me? If you really needed to talk to me, why did you page me?" So now I'm getting angry. So I drop the phone, get my stuff. Car picks me up. They drive me to the airport. I get on this plane with these 2 pilots. And now I'm thinking, my son is gone. He's my world. I have nothing else. I'm in pain. And I'm looking out the window, and it's like, I could just these people couldn't stop me from opening this little door and jumping out of this airplane. I'm having thoughts of suicide. So now I'm having mental health issues. I don't even realize this.
Yeah.
Don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Get back to the house, and I see the blood-stained carpet. His body's gone. Next thing you know, I'm getting a call from the coroner. The guy doing the autopsy. He breaks down on the phone, and he's like, "Sir, I do these autopsies on these young kids all the time." And then he breaks down. He's like, "Your son was perfect. But I'm only calling you because in his wallet, he had a card in his wallet that he wanted to be an organ donor. And I had no idea. This is a kid, I had no idea he put that in it. When he got his driver's license, he took the option to be an organ donor. That's the kind of kid he was, thinking about other people, but I didn't even know this, right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm the one that taught him how to drive.
Exactly.
I didn't even know this. So now I'm feeling ashamed because you didn't even know this about your kid.
It was so that much special.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I called the police and I said, I brought all the guns to the cops. I said, I don't want no more guns around me. Please take these, do whatever you want with them. You know, I had a shotgun, I had a rifle, I had the 32, I had a 40, I took them all. So easy to get guns back in them days. You just show up with your driver's license, pass the test. I mean, a background check, you could buy all the guns you want.
Yeah.
No more guns, all gone. And then to go to his wake, to hear kids get up and talk about him, like his leadership, but what was going on? It's like, why? You know, why did you?
Like, what am I missing?
Why would you? What was I missing? You know what I mean? And to this day, we still don't know. How many years ago that was? 1995, right?
Yes, sir.
We still don't know. There was no note. The only thing that came back a little dark was one of his teachers who came to me and said, actually two things. One of his teachers said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. You know, I should have said something to you, but the kids had to write papers, a story about," and he wrote this story kind of like it almost resembled like a Boys in the Hood thing. And I was like one of the characters, like, I forget who played that character in there, who was the, in the movie. Because when I read the story, I realized that, this was, after reading that, I was like, he was crying out for help, right? And the teacher felt bad, and I said, "Sir, you can't feel bad about this because I don't expect you to be focused on my child.
Yeah,
you got 90 other kids to teach during the day, right? Exactly. You got a job to do." Exactly. And then another clue was when he was in ROTC. And I knew about the ROTC because he didn't want to put the burden on me for him to pay to college. If he couldn't play ball in college, he was going to join the Air Force. So he joined the ROTC. And the lady who was in charge, I forget her name, commander, whatever her name was, came to me and said, when they asked me about the arrangements, and I said, "Well, we got to wait about a week until his mom can get here in town so we can make the arrangements." She was like surprised. She said, "I'm sorry, but every time we would ask your son about his family or his parents, he would tell us that his mom is dead." And I was like, oh my. I never could tell her that. Yeah. That would have killed her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Broke her spirit, yeah.
But he felt like because we stayed where we were and she left, I'm guessing he felt he was abandoned by his mother. Yeah. Even though I kept trying to tell him, no, this is not your mom and I are just not getting along. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, or it's just that it ain't working. We're like going in different directions, and it was best for us to move on.
You want to know something, just listening into that? Us as humans, no matter if you're explaining a good story or a good reasoning of why something's happening the way that it's happening, we're naturally geared to have a dark side of the story and a bright side of the story. There's no happiness without darkness, right? Yep. So in order to create that dialogue of your life, you're telling yourself, oh, well, somebody has to be the bad guy, right? Yep. And somebody has to be the good guy. Yes. So, man, perspective is a big thing that plays into people's mental health. Yes. So now this is happening, and all this is hitting you. We've hit your dad, we've hit the son, went back, fast forward, now we're back right here to you.
Well, before we even go next step, I can tell you about my first experience with a psychiatrist.
Yes, sir.
So the team arranged for me and my sister to go get counseling because she was having nightmares. She saw him. I never saw him laying on that ground. She saw him. And I think she told me for years and years the nightmares kept coming because she would see him and she couldn't sleep. So we're going to this psychiatrist. And I faked my way through that first 2 sessions, right? Talking about how my faith in God and all this was going to get me. And she said, you know what, you're going to be good. You're fine. I didn't want to be in that room with that woman talking to her about my problems.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. I mean,
Yes.
you see it all the time.
Yes.
People are struggling mentally. They're crying on social media, putting everything out there, and they're talking about God this, God that.
Yes.
I'm a spiritual guy. I go to church. I tell everybody about the Lord. Hey, I'm preaching the word. I'm active, right? I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for God, how great God was.
That's amen.
But whenever people going through mental hardships in life and losing themselves, they try to grab on to something that they've seen that other people do without truly believing in it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So God can only meet you halfway.
Yep.
You have faith, and then you have doing, right? God's going to meet you right there. But if you're lashing out and you're not truly rooted in that and believe in that, your voice is not going to be heard.
Not at all.
Right?
Not
So
at all.
you go through the psychiatrist meetings and you put on a mask.
That's right.
What happens next?
I was out of work I left the team for like a month. I didn't even know how depressed I was. Now I know I was dealing with depression because I didn't want to get out. I didn't want to leave the house. My sister, thank God, was right next door.
So what does that feel like?
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Is it hard to describe?
It's hard to describe because I let myself go. I used to work out all the time. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't working out. I don't remember if I was eating, unless my sister had me eating, if she was checking on me, because again, she was right next door. I was sleeping in my son's bed, because everything in there, I could smell him in the bed. I could smell the sheet. I don't know if I washed the sheets. I don't even remember cleaning the carpet, which I did at some point because it was blood stained on that carpet. And I could still see the bullet in the wall. So maybe, I don't know if he fired the gun twice. Basically, what the coroner told me was that he didn't even know what he was doing. He said, because he said the bullet didn't really go penetrate. It kind of like glanced off of his skull. He basically bled to death. It wasn't because the bullet was stuck in his head.
Impact, yeah.
And there was a hole in the wall where I could see where that bullet was stuck in there, and of course the police had taken it out of the wall. But that hole was still there. And it was a month. I looked like Grizzly Adams, because back then I still had a little bit of hair, but I was all gray. I looked bad. I looked in the mirror, and it was almost a month had passed, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And now I'm taking his clothes. I kept some things I wanted to keep, like his basketball jersey, his ROTC uniform stuff. I kept that, but the rest of it I donated. He had big old feet. I kept one pair of shoes that I remember was his favorite shoes. I kept his baseball glove. I got rid of everything else, and I got out of the room. I turned that room into my exercise room, put my equipment in there, and I stayed in that apartment until I left Atlanta.
Yes,
but I didn't realize that for that month, I know it now, but I didn't realize for that month I was in a deep depression.
So when you're going through mental health issues, you get to a point where you become numb.
Yes.
And I call it the soulless phase. It's like you don't know anything that you're really doing because you've lost your sense of control even for yourself.
Yes.
And whenever you lose control for yourself, you're not gonna be present within your own life. It's like you're just existing.
That's right.
So here's was this the peak moment for you?
No.
So let's go to the peak moment.
Yeah, I went back and I just buried myself in work. For some reason, I could always find my peace or some type of peace by just going back to what I knew was the most familiar, and that was to work.
That's what a man's supposed to do, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, this past Sunday, we had a men's meeting at church. We have every Sunday morning before service. It's a men's group. And I meant to bring a card for you guys, what our lead pastor was talking about that day was about warriors. That we're told that we have to be warriors. But there's so much involved with what a man has to do. We can't just be this warrior beating people down all the time, because that kills everything, your relationships. You have to know when to be soft, when to be hard, went to just kind of smooth sail. It's difficult things to juggle, all those things that men have to juggle. And I'm not putting women aside. Women have a lot more to juggle than we do. But again, like you said earlier, I'm not a woman. You're not a woman. So we don't understand unless we communicate with them what is really going on.
And then most of the time, whenever we try to communicate what's going on, we can't even articulate with the opposite sex and vice versa. So there's never an understanding.
No.
Yeah.
But probably where I'm at now, where the peak hit me, is here I am sitting, just a couple months ago, I'm sitting in an arena, not too far from here. I don't want to talk about the team because I don't want anybody to get upset. I'm sitting in an arena not too far from here, and my son and my grandson are with me. We have just won an NBA championship, and I'm sitting next to my colleague, who, Dr. Derek Sweet, I've introduced you to his Sweet Spot, his podcast. And that man's, my best relationship with a psychiatrist has come because of him. Because I had no idea how much that man helped me throughout the years working in New York with the pressure of the job and all those things. And I didn't even realize how good he was at what he did, from until this point. So here I am sitting here, and all the celebrations going on. People they're popping the champagne, and you know what goes on. You've seen them. You've seen the highlights on TV. The cigars are going, and I'm sitting here, and I'm having a pity party. I had to check myself because I'm sitting here. My wife got so mad at me because I forgot. She was upset. She said, "You forgot to get a picture with the trophy." I said, "I did." I wasn't even thinking about that. And I was embarrassed, right? And Gregory was there with me, and they had no idea what was going on in my head. But I'm sitting there thinking about, this is it. What's next? I'm not even in the moment enjoying it. I'm just thinking about, okay, what's happening next, right?
Yeah.
Or what did I do, or what did I not do in the past, right? Did I not work hard enough in this area? Did I miss something? Did I piss somebody off or something along the way? Why did it have to come at my 34th year in the NBA and not my 15th, where I could have, say, another couple of chances to do this again? But I'm not even celebrating the moment. I'm sitting here feeling sorry for myself. And that's kind of like the peak as far as mental health goes, the peak moment for me.
It was in that moment that you probably didn't realize it then, but now, if I was just kind of put everything together, that was the moment that you wanted to share with your son.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's
because I remember how ecstatic he was when we were at a summer camp. He was helping me with a camp I was doing, and I got the call to go for an interview. And and then we're watching later on we're watching the NBA draft, and all he's thinking about is, which guys is this team gonna? He already knew he was already thinking I already had the job.
Yeah.
All I was going for was an interview.
Exactly.
But later on when I got the call, he just went bonkers. He was so excited. He was a big kid. He's about 6'5".
Yes, sir.
So he was much bigger than I was.
Yeah.
But that was something I regretted. He would, what would he be doing now? His best friend is still close to me like a son.
Yes, sir.
And he has a tattoo on his arm of his best friend, and he had dealing with the guilt all the time. Saying, why didn't he even talk to me? What did he do? What was it? What happened? What was going on with him? That he would take his life, and we still don't understand it. But yeah, you're right. Probably the biggest regret was that I didn't have a chance to. He didn't share that with me.
Yeah, he didn't.
I had all the other family members around to share with, but he was the first.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a chance to really be a part of this with us.
So mental health blocking even at that point, gratitude of the things that's going on.
I should be thanking God.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because look at how many, nobody in my business lasts 35 years in the NBA.
You've
right?
accomplished some tremendous things.
Yes, and I'm sitting here worried about what's next.
Exactly.
Right?
So, man, mental health is something so powerful that, once again, the soulless phase still lingers on from time to time.
Yes.
If there's anything that you could say here today to wrap up this segment, what would you like to tell men, young men out there today is the best thing that you can do whenever overcoming and dealing with mental health issues that you feel like you can't talk to anybody about?
Yeah. I would, first of all, I would say pray to God, right? To get guidance, to get discernment. Talk to whoever's the closest to you, whether it's your wife or your partner, right? And if you feel like you need to get more professional help, find a reputable, psychiatrist who can help you work your way through these. There's even some guidance at some of our churches. We have pastors who are also trained in this stuff. Find help. And nothing wrong with asking for help. And there's an old cliche that you hear all the time. People say, it's okay not to be okay. And that's a fact. It's okay not to be okay. Because we're all trying to find our way through this thing we call life. And don't wait until it's too late and you're having regrets about the past. Try to stay right in the middle. Stay focused on what's happening today and not worry about the past. And of course, it's hard not to worry about the future, but it's easier to just stay focused on today.
Everybody, there you have it, another episode of Through the Line Mental Health. Being present, focusing on what's right now in front of you and dealing with it, instead of trying to put it in your past of things that could reoccur in the future that's going to only get stronger if you try to avoid it. Mental health, guys, check yourself, check everybody around you, support each other. Thank you, Mr. Hinds.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Through the Line Casting Studio.